Majora! Interesting talk for one like you. I'm not here to stop you, Majora. I'm here to shed light on what you really are. Not an evil godlike being bent on destruction, but a child of an African legend whose story is more tragic than anyone could have seen. In all of my research of cultural parallels between Termina and Africa, you, my friend, are by far the most interesting link. I discovered that you are not some deity, but the tragic, long-lost son of one. And I can prove it. It took some digging, but hidden away on the internet I found an interesting South African folk story. It's called The Moonchild. Not a super popular story, mind, and there's little else besides this one reference that proves its existence. But that's how many indigenous cultures work: storytelling and word of mouth. To summarize, in ancient times past there lived a great chief called Bulane, possibly a demigod of the celestial heavens, and he was distinguished from all men by having a full moon upon his chest. The chief also had 2 wives. The older had bore him many children, however none of them possessed the marking of the full moon such as he. Sure, they had stars and crescents, and the chief loved them all the same, but none possessed the full moon, the sign of his race, and this deeply upset him. That is until one fateful day the younger wife bore him a son, and he was born with the full moon upon his chest. Bulane was overjoyed that his lineage could continue. However, the elder wife was overtaken with rage and jealousy. When the younger wife was asleep, the elder took the newborn and made several attempts to kill the child. She would have succeeded if it were not for a tiny mouse who overheard the plot of the elder wife, and saved the baby by taking it to a camp of traders who took the child in. The men cared for the child tenderly until one of Bulane's people who came to trade saw the babe who was the spitting image of the chief himself, and bore the full moon on his chest. Bulane hastily was informed of what the trader saw, and rushed out to take his long-lost child home. The return of the Moonchild was widely celebrated, while the evil elder wife was driven away back to her father's people. You, Majora, are the Moonchild of that story. But your version of that story doesn't have a happy ending, does it? No one's come for you, have they? No friendly tradesman to care for you after you were left to die by your stepmother. No mouse who saved you from her initial wrath. Everything about you, from your interactions with others to your final forms of combat, you act as an undisciplined child, playing childish tricks, giggling, and throwing tantrums. Who could discipline you if you had no parent? Is being the full moon child the reason why you chose a full moon to destroy the peaceful town of Termina? As a way of telling the world that abandoned you who you were before they suffered like you did? Yet even in your rage, your sadness is obvious. Your sign, the full moon, even in all of its personified rage that you gave it, still weeps. Why? Does it weep because you weep? Because you lost the chance at a family due to the actions of someone who was supposed to love you? Even within your own world, the evidence of your origin is overwhelming. Upon entry, we see a large, single tree with long, reaching branches and an exceptionally thick trunk from base to top. You cannot tell me this doesn't hark to the baobab tree. Africa's symbol of strength, wisdom, health, long life, and beauty, the very symbol of creation and a link to its past. Yet, this is where we sit when we find you. What's even more interesting is how you and the children around you are referred to in-game as moon children, all of you looking similar, but having a few differences. So we can conclude that all of you are siblings, or at least related, and all children of the moon, just like the children of the moon of Chief Bulane. But you, Majora, you are alone. You isolate yourself from the other children, sitting by yourself underneath the baobab tree. On the outside, you act in control, angered, even evil, but on the inside, you're scared and alone. Face it, Majora, you are the full moon child of the legend. The evidence is overwhelming. Yet unlike the story, there was no mouse to save you from your evil stepmother. There was no band of kind tradesmen to take care of you. You were left alone to die. And as time passed, your lonely life built bitterness within you. The universe denied you your love from your family, so you turned your spiteful eyes to Termina, the happy town where friendship and love was blossoming. In fact, with all these parallels between Africa and Termina, the mass culture, the bosses, everything, it's why you chose Termina to be destroyed, isn't it? It was all so familiar. It was the symbol of the very way of life that scorned you. You wanted them to suffer like you did. And how else could you do it but by destroying these people with the biggest calling card you could create? No one, not even the celestial beings, could ignore what you were going to do. The heavenly family that you believed abandoned you couldn't help but see you now. But even in all of your bitterness and rage, your overwhelming sadness shines through. You still cry, you still hide yourself away, and all you want is someone to play with you. So end it, Majora. You were defeated by the hero of time, and you will always be defeated again. Let go of the past and embrace what you can become, or let it destroy you like so many other spirits and gods that came before you. existence, so many ancient stories of God, man, and spirits end so tragically. I hope yours ends the way it was supposed to. Hey everyone, thanks for sticking with me through my Majora's Mask mini-series. It was a lot of fun to put together. I've been hearing a lot of people talk about South America being a big influence to this game, so who knows, I might be able to come back to it. Also, a big thanks to the artists and musicians that made it happen, my patrons, and cool enough, Crunchyroll for sponsoring it. Personally, I've enjoyed what this service does long before I started doing videos, so it was pretty exciting when they approached me. For those of you that don't know, Crunchyroll is an anime streaming service that has more shows than I've ever seen on one site. Stuff like Naruto Shippuden, Sword Art Online, the new Sailor Moon, all of them ready and available to watch. Premium members not only get to watch their shows without ads, but also have the ability to watch their favorite shows as soon as they broadcast in Japan. Not to mention you can watch your shows on any number of devices at any time. Personally, I suggest my all-time favorite sci-fi anime, Tengen Toppa Gurren Lagann. Wacky craziness, intense action, and trope-breaking elements make this show awesome. Not to mention, this guy is voiced by the same dude who does Link, and no, I'm not even kidding. So if you're interested in checking out this service, you can sign up for a free 2-week trial at crunchyroll.com/theorists. Thanks again for watching everyone, and until next time, this is Gaijin Goombah signing out.